guys, before you watch this video, I have a good news for you. Engoo is offering 3 free classes for new users where you can practice your English with non-native English tutors. This offer is only valid till 4th of February. So for registering, use my code and all the instructions and terms and conditions I have mentioned in the description box. So go and check it right now and register yourself and enjoy the conversation. Happy learning!
Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, Upasana, how have you been?
I have been so good. And what about you? How was your weekend?
I was good, nothing unusual, everything
So,
pretty much the same.
that date was very interesting class. And again, I thought I should talk to you. So I again booked a lesson, but I completely forgot before joining the class. I was taking shower and then I
That's okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Usually, sometimes it happens that students are a bit even more late, so just a minute or two is fine. Don't worry about it.
okay.
Uh, hey, so what are you up to for today, this week?
Nothing interesting. Like usually, I take one of my classes at 3 o'clock, but today I have some work. I have recently shifted my house, so uh, that's why I'm so busy, and I will only be going to gym today.
Okay, only going to the gym.
Yeah.
Well, doing the most important things first. So, you can say I recently moved. It sounds a bit more natural.
Okay.
Um, yes. So just simply like that. I
I
recently
recently
moved.
moved. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So is the new house living up to your expectations? How is it so far?
Yeah, I have been so busy for past 2 days, arranging the things and uh, putting curtains.
Oh, yes, you have to maybe
Still, I
decorate.
have to do a lot of work.
That's good. So do you have any, I don't know, maybe Pinterest inspiration boards, how you're gonna decorate the house or something like that?
I have thought something earlier. I was supposed to buy a swing because I like swing very much, but I have very small balcony, or we call it corridor. Do you understand it?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think we have
It's
some similar things.
okay.
Yeah.
So, what is the difference between balcony and corridor?
In my understanding, a balcony is usually sort of like a terrace. They're the same thing, but maybe a corridor is more closed off. So let me just confirm for
Yeah,
you,
sure.
because usually it's either a balcony or a terrace. A corridor, yeah, it's a bit more closed off, a more closed off space. Um, I have seen some architecture videos about some houses, maybe even more modern houses. Some of those were in India. So is this more common for Indian houses? I'm not sure.
So you are asking about balcony or the corridor part?
The corridor, yes, because I've seen that kind of sort of enclosed space.
I think
Um,
corridor is a kind of corridor is for a lot of flats. Then there is corridor, very common
uh,
corridor. But balcony is something
yes.
like you have in separate.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. That's one other the way you can define the word. So this what you have is a corridor
No, it's a balcony.
balcony.
Now I
Okay.
understood the difference between balcony and corridor. So Anna, how
Yes,
do
yeah.
you spend your day?
Um, my day so far.
Yeah, no. Usually, how do you spend your day?
How do I spend my day? Well, these days, I usually have lessons for school a couple of times a week. Most of them are in 1 or 2 days. So when I have those, I just have my lessons. And then recently I was lucky enough to get a treadmill. So I like to walk on the treadmill or I like to walk my dog. And otherwise, I just have lessons here, English
Okay,
lessons.
that's really interesting. So, do you also like to work out?
Yes, recently I just started. The pandemic situation really brought me just at home. So I decided it's important to keep moving.
So, you have treadmill at your home.
Yes, yes. I only got it not even a week ago now, but it's really practical already.
Okay, that's really interesting because a lot of time we just think a lot before buying any treadmill for our home.
Yes, yes. But in my case, I live with my family currently, so I thought it's useful for everyone, even the dog. So I thought, why not?
That's really nice. So dog is also enjoying there on treadmill.
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun, especially if one of us is walking and he's just with two legs on the treadmill.
Okay. So when did you get that pet?
The can you say that again?
Yeah, I was asking about your dog. Like when did you
Oh,
get it?
yes, the dog. Not even a year for him. We got him last June. I think it was the 14th or 15th of June. So he's about almost. It's gonna be his birthday, sort of birth month,
Okay.
in 2 days. So
A-
9 months old.
And
That's
what's his name?
his name is Murphy.
Melfi.
So yes, Murphy. There you go,
So
Murphy.
is there any reason like what do we call it? Like whenever like if I talk about my name, so Upasana means worship. So is there any meaning of Murphy?
There's probably a meaning to the name. However, the reason we chose the name, or my dad mentioned the name, is because of Murphy's Law. Do you know about Murphy's Law?
No, no.
So this is sort of a law of nature, if you will. So basically, it says everything that can go wrong will go wrong, something along those lines. So my dad was joking. Whenever he does something, something always goes wrong. So he said, "It's a nice name. Why don't we call the dog the same?" So,
Very interesting story behind the name. And is there any meaning of your name?
yeah. So my full name is Anastasia. So,
Okay, very big
um,
name, Anastasia. Let me
yeah, yeah.
pronounce
It's
it.
very long.
Anastasia. Can you pronounce it?
Yeah. So in my language we say Anastasia.
Okay, Anastasia. Okay.
Yes, but in English it's Anastasia. So
Okay.
it's a little. Yeah. So the meaning is resurrection. Or coming back to life after dying, basically.
Okay.
So, yes. So, I don't know if you're familiar, but in the Christian religion, there's Easter, and Easter is about Christ's resurrection. So, that's how my name was chosen because that year Easter was in my birth month. So my
Okay.
mom said if it's a girl, this can be her name. So
So your mother gave you this name.
yes, even before I was born, even before she knew she was pregnant, she said, if it's a girl, this is the name. So that's how I got my name.
That's really interesting. The meaning, and the short form is Anna.
Yes, I went with Anna. It's much more simple. I think most people can
Yes,
pronounce
yes,
it
yes.
easily.
So
Yeah.
how do your parents call you in at your home? Just by saying Anna or Anastasia?
If my mom is mad, she might say my full name. But otherwise, she would always call me Anne, pretty
Okay.
much. Yes. Anne or yeah, my sister also doesn't call me. We have a word for an older brother or older sister in my language, which is dade or bato, the female and male version. But my usually brothers and sisters call each other. My sister is younger and she doesn't call me that at all. She calls me by her
Okay.
name.
So are you
And
do you have any siblings or you are the only child of your parents?
yes, yes, I have a sister, 6.5 years younger. Yeah,
Okay, okay. That's really nice. So
yes.
usually whenever I have talked to Engoo tutors, I have heard that if they are ever, if they are 18 or 19 years old, so they are living away from their parents, but you are living with
Yeah.
your parents. So is it happens with your country as well? Like it is quite, uh, what do we call it? So it is quite natural to live away from the parents at your country.
Yes, it really depends. I feel like the majority of people in my country usually do live with their parents at least until they finish with their university college time. I was supposed to be living alone uh, back this past year. However, because of the virus, it was much smarter to just stay home. So
Okay, so
I came back home.
so have you ever lived alone?
Yes, well, technically not alone. I lived with my friends 2 years ago
Hmm.
for a few months before, actually a year ago before the pandemic started. And last year, September to the end of October, I did live a bit with my boyfriend, but that didn't wasn't possible to continue because of the pandemic. It got much worse. So
Okay, that's really nice.
yeah. So what about you? Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have one brother, and we are a joint family. The what do we call the brother of my father? What do we call?
Your father's brother is your uncle.
Yes. So my uncle, my aunt, and their kids as well. So we live in a joint family. But these days, for my work, I'm living in Delhi. Basically, I'm from Gwalior. So
Okay, okay.
I will say that I have three siblings because we are so close to each other.
Oh, yes, of course, of course. I do also have cousins, but we don't live in the same place, even though we live pretty close. My mom did spend a lot of time with her cousins, and she always calls them sisters instead of cousins
So in your
because of how.
country, yeah, that's really nice. So in your country, like people live in a joint family or they live in a nuclear family?
Um, Again, it depends. The more newer, the younger couples usually like to live separately. So they will usually get an apartment or a house if that's possible and live by themselves. But traditionally, usually if there is a son in the family, the father usually makes a house with two separate levels, and the grandma and grandpa live on the first level, and the younger family lives on the second floor. In my case it's like that, but it's the other way around. We live on the first floor and my grandparents above us. So
Okay. And do you
sort
also
of.
have grandparents?
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
Yes.
do they live with you?
Well, we do live in the same house, but it's a different entrance. So they have one and we have another entrance. They're on the second floor and we are on the first floor.
Okay. So usually I like to spend my time with my grandparents. So it happens with you as well that you are very connected with your grandparents?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Of course, again, the pandemic, we want to stay safe, so we haven't had too much contact. But maybe I'll go outside in the yard, and they come out on the balcony, and we just sit and talk like that in this past year.
Okay. And what you are supposed to do today? How you're gonna spend your day?
Yeah, so I'm gonna have these lessons, then I might make cake. I've been meaning to make a cake, so if
Okay.
I do that, yeah, that's
So
gonna
is
be
it your
nice.
hobby to make cake or it's an occasion, something like that?
Um, I made this cake last year for my birthday, but I didn't get a chance to try it. Just a tiny small piece. So I just wanted to make it just because. And my friends liked it too, so I might give them a couple of pieces too.
So your friends lives nearby or you are going to travel to their place?
Yeah, my city is quite small, only about 15,000 people, so we don't live too far from each other. Maybe a maximum about like 20 minutes walking. So it's a pretty close,
So if you
relatively.
have to travel to some place, so how do you commute most of the places?
If it's around my city, usually with just walking, or sometimes with a car if my dad is going somewhere as well, and if it's a bit farther. Otherwise, just walking.
Okay, that's really nice. So Anna, I want to ask you one thing that what is your native language?
Yes, so my native language is Macedonian.
Okay, that day you told me, but its name is very difficult.
I understand. It's quite long.
So
Yeah.
you have learned English as a second language, right?
Yes, English is my second
So
language.
like sometimes it happens with me that I struggle a lot when I have to speak English, and sometimes words don't come in my mind. So how should I practice my English? Can you give me some suggestions?
Oh, sure. So the way, of course, you can improve any language is by speaking it as much as possible. When it comes to learning new words and maybe remembering them, I like to keep, for different languages like English, I like to keep a notebook. And if I find a word that I don't know, I write it down. Or if it's a word I want to remember, I write it down, the meaning, a few sentences. And then you can try your best to use that word in everyday conversation, like for 1 to 3 days. That really practices, I think, the memory, and usually you'll remember it.
Okay, but usually what happens that I don't have a speaking partner, so I have to practice
Yes,
my English alone. So apart from learning the new vocabularies, how can I
yes.
practice my speaking part?
By yourself?
Yes.
Um, well, another way what you can do is maybe you can find something to read, any article, any textbook, whatever
Okay.
you like, and then maybe you can put on a sound recorder on your phone, computer, whatever is available, and then you can listen back to your recording, and you can really notice your mistakes if you want to improve, and also you're practicing your listening skills as well as your speaking skills. That's another way if you have to do it by yourself.
And I have really find it very helpful to practice here on Engoo. Can you tell me how can someone make the best use of Engoo? If my friends want to practice English here, so how can someone make the
Yes.
best use of it?
Well, of course, regular practice. I think maybe 5 days a week is probably good, and then the 2 days off that are rest days can be used for self practice. That's also important. But when you're on here, you can maybe try to find a mixture between free conversation as well as materials lessons. And if you're ever having trouble, you can always ask the tutor for some suggestions on materials so they can help you, especially after a few lessons. If you already know each other very well, it's much
Okay.
easier to assess.
Yes,
Yeah.
like I'm feeling so comfortable with you as this is my second lesson with you. Okay, one more
Thank
question
you.
I want to ask that whenever I speak English, so sometimes I mispronounce a lot of words as there are
Ah,
some words like speak and steal. So there is this e sound, steal, school.
yes.
So how can I practice my pronunciation part?
Yes, of course, it depends on the word. Um, Besides being very, very persistent, you have to be very patient, and you just have to really practice all the time. I sometimes, when some students struggle with pronunciation of some words, I try to break them down in some simpler, sounds. Like recently, would be um, recently. Recently. So something like this. So you just
Okay.
say the different syllables. So if you can maybe you can find a recording of the word online, listen to the different syllables, and then write them down like this. I think that's I've gotten some good feedback on that, and I think other tutors use it too. So that's one way you can practice.
So is there any material on Ingu like where we can practice our pronunciation part?
Yes, there's a whole pronunciation practice. Usually, it's two sounds usually per lesson. So it's up to you. There's a lot of to choose from.
Okay, okay. And is accent important when we speak English? Because in India, a lot of people they just try to imitate the foreign accent, like British accent or the American accent. So, is it important to improve our accent?
The accent, I don't think, in my opinion, doesn't really change so much as long as you doesn't change anything so much as long as you are saying the words correctly or you're expressing yourself effectively and the person can understand you. like maybe we mentioned maybe last time, languages for communication. So if you can succeed in that, you've already learned the language. Um, so yes, you don't really have to worry too much about British English, this or that. Just trying to pronounce the words correctly. There are some tricky sounds which can make you sound like you're saying something else. So just being careful with that, I think, is more important.
Okay, thank you so much for answering these questions. And how did you practice your English as you have also learned it as a second language?
Yes, yes. Second language and first foreign. So I maybe also, I don't remember, maybe we mentioned, but I started very young. So that's a very big advantage. Kids should be exposed to languages young so they can learn them. So I just had, very small steps. I didn't focus at all on putting too much pressure on myself to improve this or that way. So I was just surrounded by the language with movies and music, and that's
Okay.
how it happened.
Okay, so that's really a great suggestion. Like even I used to watch so many TV series in English, and I will say
Uh,
whatever I speak, it's because of those movie series that I watched
yes,
earlier. Because you get a lot of words when you watch the movie. So,
yes, yes. The thing I mentioned about writing down,
hmm,
that's also useful with TV shows.
okay, I'm gonna implement that tip. So
Sure,
how?
I hope you like it.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. So how do you communicate at your home in your native language that is Macedonian or in English?
Yes, Macedonian. So we mostly communicate in Macedonian. We don't really communicate with my family in English. Sometimes we mix English with my friends, but mostly the communication is in Macedonian. Yeah.
Okay. Can you teach me some sentences of Macedonian?
Sure. For example, hello would be zdravo, like this. Very simple.
How do we pronounce it?
Zdravo,
Zdravo.
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 That's good.
Okay. So
Yes.
Z it's silent here or it's just sound like Dravo?
It's there, but it's not very pronounced. So just a sort of maybe softer. Zdravo.
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 Okay, Zdravo.
Yes.
Okay, and if
Yes,
we have
that's
to
good.
ask how are you, then how to ask?
Kakosi.
Kakosi.
Yes, kakosi. It's good.
It's really cute. So next time if I
Oh,
take your class, I will ask you Kakosi.
oh, thank you.
And if you
Sure.
if you have to answer that I'm fine, I'm doing great.
You can say dobrosum like this. Dobrosum.
Dobrosum. It's really difficult
Yes.
to learn a new language. So if I in future I will try to learn it.
Oh, sure. Yes, I hope you might like it. I think the pronunciation is maybe easier than English because
Yes.
it's just how it's written is the same way you say it. So
Yeah, it's quite easy. Dabrosum and Kakosi.
it's good. Yes.
Okay, thank you Anna for your time. It was really a wonderful session.
Thank you so much, Upasana. I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah,
So
sure.
stay safe and
You too. Have a nice
enjoy
day
your new
ahead.
house.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.